Here we have Ethan's model, no floor, no ceiling, just rendered on the desktop, just with view render. High quality, it goes draft, medium, high, and then the best and stuff, but I'm just doing high. And that's what that looks like rendered on the desktop. And here's what the same thing looks like rendered in the cloud. It's a different program, I gather, that runs wherever that all runs. And this wasn't even like special rendering. This is just like the first initial pass at it. If you see, the light hits here and then bounces onto the wall. The light hits the tub and bounces up onto this wall that we really just don't, we barely get any sense of the environmental three-dimensionality of light going on here. Also, you notice that the light coming, for some reason, I don't know if you made this like this or if I made this like messing around, but there's some funky material here that has holes in it. It's a range hood is what it is, but I don't know where this material came from. But you can see down here, it shadows are sort of messy. If we go to that high res one, we can see we're actually getting the shadows out of that. So it's just a better deal. These are both approximately the same resolution, so you could, it's really quite a thing. So let's just see how we get there. I'm just going to open Ethan's file here. And this online in the cloud rendering service is free to you as students and me as a faculty member. On my personal account, I sort of budget like $1,500 a year for this. You have to buy it like $100 at a time, 100 credits worth at a time. Anyway, so we get them for free, but as I note here, we don't have high priority on the servers wherever they're running. So renderings that a paying customer would get back in seconds would take us maybe 10 minutes. But on the other hand, you can keep on working during those 10 minutes, which you can't do on the desktop. So it sort of balances out. Also, just for future notice, there's lots of students using this toward the end of semesters. So plan ahead. And also, by the time West Coast architecture firms shut down, which is like 8 o'clock here, 8 or 9 o'clock is when things open up a little bit. So a couple things here, just looking at this view before I just open this up. Notice I'm losing the back part here because the far clip active is turned on. So I'm going to uncheck that to bring back the distant parts of the view there. And we're not going to worry about the lighting and the fact we don't have a floor or a ceiling. We'll just let the sun shine in. So the way this works is we go to View, Cloud Rendering, and from there we have two choices. And let's just go right directly to rendering galleries, where you look at the stuff that you've already rendered. We don't have any of that yet. So if we go to Render in Cloud, it's going to tell you how this works. You select a view and say start rendering. You can sit and wait for that to render on the screen, but it might be like 10 minutes. Or you can just keep coming back to the gallery to see when it's there. Or you can choose to get an email when it's ready. I don't want to see this again, so I'm just going to don't show me this again next time, and get right to the business end of rendering in the cloud. So we have here, first of all, it's only going to render 3D views. However, we can render multiple views at a time if we want. You could be at the end of your project, you just have like 5 of these to render. You just click 5 of them, hit render, and go home and get some sleep. But we're just going to do the one. We have a couple of choices of output. We have a still image, a panorama. I'll get to all these. A stereo panorama, which is with red and blue glasses, which is really great. And also an illuminance one in your apartments. We're going to try to get Revit to put the same amount of light onto, let's say, your dining room table as is actually there. Render quality goes from standard to final, and you sort of always just start with these to see what you've got, and then decide, yes, that's the view I want, and then maybe take more time on it to make it higher resolution, or to spend more time rendering. We have the sizes here. If you just want a real quick look at it, as quick as possible, you can do a small one, which might render in 3 minutes instead of 10. So we pick them by the size, and Revit figures out how big that image is going to be given the proportions of the actual view you're rendering. And then we have an exposure. We've got 2 of these. The native is the one that pretty much matches the desktop version of rendering will work, and then advanced is a little fancier and treats bounces and things more sophisticatedly, but takes longer. Pretty much anytime we're sort of making something more elaborate than what is here, it's going to start kicking up the amount of money that it would charge me as a paying customer. And as a student, you're limited to 16. For instance, if I say, let's take this quality up to final, it would say, oh, that's going to take you 2 credits, I think, 1 credit. If I take the image size up to maximum, it's going to say that's it. We can't go any farther. So I'm going to kick that back down to, let's say, large or extra large, 9, somewhere in there. But they're not letting students do like a 32 credit image. So I'm going to turn that back to standard, turn this back to medium. I'll leave the exposure here at well, exposure was advanced to start with. And then I'm going to hit start rendering. And down here, there's a little check mark for email me when complete. So if it might take a couple of hours, you don't want to sit around waiting or have to keep checking. It'll just send you an email when it's done. I'm not going to do that because we'll be doing pretty fast stuff. So I'm just going to hit start rendering. And what's happened is the whole model has been uploaded. All the geometry, all the materials, all the lights, everything up to the cloud. And if you go up to your user, you see that little wheel spinning up there. Does that work for everybody? If we scroll down to render progress, we need to sign in. Over here is where this project is happening. So these are ones that I've worked on this account over several years. But if we just click on this, we'll see this one thing. Your job is in the rendering queue, render queue time less than 10 minutes. So it's probably 9 minutes and 77 seconds or something, 57 seconds. There's no point just sitting here waiting. So I'm just going to go back and look at a couple other kinds of images I've been dealing with. Here's the American Life building from last semester, or maybe I just re-rendered it, I can't remember. But latest rendering is right here. And if you click here and say all renderings, right, this is brand new. Let's go back one more. Here is American Life building from last year. Oh, yeah, here's one of the panoramic views. I'll show you a couple others of those. But each one will say you'll either have latest renderings or all renderings. In this case, we can see ones that I did coming up to this. Some of these they're shown full screen, but they might be fairly low resolution. They're just like test prints till I get the look and the lighting that I want. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. Let's go back a little bit. Here are, when we get to them, are the illuminance values. So this is maybe a nice well-lit kitchen. It's a little hard to say. There's light coming in the windows and stuff. Let's go back to one that's a little more dramatic. Here's a really contrasty office. This light right next to the wall is giving me a real hot spot there. This might be okay down here, but it's going to feel like a very contrasty room. Go back a little bit. I'm just talking while we're letting that render, just so we're here. This was a project for a wall covering company, where the wall covering was partly textured and matte, and partly was screened on, was this reddish outline and then a silver paint inside that. They wanted to see that being reflective. And these are probably the most complex materials I've ever made in Revit, because we did the black and white images for cutouts. This involved a black and white image that was white where the silver is and black where everything else is. You can assign a cutout image to reflection and make something like this happen. So you can see how that keeps on reflecting the light from the wall washer all the way down. And then I presented it to the client in this panoramic view so we could explore it live. Okay, here's Arden. Hasn't happened yet. It's sometimes fun if you do just sit here and click it, eventually it's going to pop up all misty, and then the pixels sort of all resolve themselves over a minute or two. Okay, so that's mine has appeared. One nice thing about this is the speed of my computer doesn't make any difference in this compared to yours. It's all happening somewhere up in the who knows where. Whatever we do here inherits all the lighting and sun information from that view in Revit. So it's not like we do separate stuff here. We get it, everything as good as we can get it looking on the desktop, and then even a quick render there, and then we can shoot it up here. So we're not taking up their time, we're not wasting our time by using this as the place where we do a lot of test strips. It's just too tedious to wait for them. Okay, so with this here, now that this whole project is already uploaded, I don't have to upload it again to, for instance, re-render it at, I thought, oh, this is just exactly what I want, but I know I need it bigger to print it cleaner on my final project. So I can just kick up the size or the proportions like that. I can increase the quality, whatever I need to do there. So that's one thing we can do. I can re-render it, or I can re-render it as a panorama, and I'll show you what those look like. I can do it as a stereo panorama, which I would really like. I'm suggesting to Keith and all that we have final presentations over in the BAB on a big screen, run from a computer. So if you got panoramas and that kind of stuff, sort of run it from a big PDF that can have an embedded, so people can really see it instead of squinting and everybody's sitting so far back they can't see the drawings. But something big. Stereo panorama, a solar study where it's sort of a series of images of the sun either moving across a space over the course of a day or breakfast time through the year, however that's going to work out for you. The luminance map that we saw, the false color ones. This one called turntable. It's sort of like an orbit command, a mechanized orbit command. That's the closest this gets to animation. They're not doing animations like walkthrough animations with this. That's very computationally intensive, and it would bring the entire internet to a grinding halt if all the design students were using that, let alone the design firms. This is post-processing, color balance, light, dark, that kind of thing. Download it or trash it. And I do want to show you what the panoramas look like. I don't want to take the time to do it because it not only has to render this much of the image, but also this much and this much and this much, so until it's done a full 360 degrees. So the time for this one was, let's say, 8 minutes. It might be, even though there's nothing back there, it might be half an hour. So a couple of ones I did for a commercial client, they had an empty warehouse over at Swan and Kentucky Streets, and they wanted to attract a renter. Somebody had just moved out, and so I modeled the space, and they said, well, let's see what that would look like with an office in there. So I can say, well, it could look like this. And this is stuff that they put on their website to attract somebody to come in. I mean, I got the wheelchair lady. I got, this is all in Revit. ADA all in Revit. And then we also did a brew pub. This is sort of the, it feels, this is real. I photographed a big section of the actual brick wall, which was pretty decrepit, as you can see looking in there. We decided to make it a design feature. It's not very high. They're probably at I'm guessing 10 or 11 feet, something in there. Yeah. So I have these little things going on, like she's telling him something and he's not, and this guy's chatting up the bartender and couple over here, doing stuff, cards on the TV. Anyway, it's just fun. It's just fun to do this. Can I zoom in here? Can I zoom in? Yeah, I can zoom in. Neo. Yeah, here's Sports Central, and I forget what. Cards, basketball, some breaking news. So it's anyway. I think I can't remember where I had a picture of some of these. Just the big, just like yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they would actually do it there. And it's really sort of depressing. The actual tenant ended up being uh, a company that does like DoorDash of drugstore items. So this is basically just full of shelves. I mean, it's so disappointing having put all this time into it. Such is the designer's life. Let's see. So we can kill this. Oh, and these just come in when you export them. They just come in as an HTML file. And you just double click it in the browser, and there it is. No extra messing around. It's a pretty nice system. Okay, I seem to have gotten out of my whatever. I saved I bookmarked the uh, here. I gave the address of it in here. Yeah, it's on page 2. So here was here was that we saw that. So the download process is just like the download button. Which type I'll probably just do it. Well, JPEG sort of plays with edges and stuff. PNG does not, so I think I'll just stick with PNG. Oh, and we can also, if you wanted to, well, we'll get to that. Cancel. Wait, I think I hit delete instead. Okay, so if we go to, there it is in my downloads folder, and if you'll see what they do, it's very nice. Um, the name of this file is kind of long, but it's the name of the original file of the Revit file plus the date, the time down to the thousandth of a second or something rather, the name of the view, and then the type of thing it is. So you're never going to overwrite. You can just keep saving. Even if it's identical view, you get stacked timestamp copies of that. So it really works very well. Okay. So if I wanted to change the sun, let's say to make the sun come over from this direction, I'd have to go back to Revit. Cloud rendering is not going to do anything to your lighting, to your model, whatever. Okay, so in this view, I'm just going to go to my render settings and go to sun only because I don't really have lights here yet. And right now, I don't know what your north is. I'm going to sort of play with the shadows here a little bit. But this relative to view, it's just always coming in like over your left, over your right shoulder, no matter what direction you're looking. And I want to have a little more control from that. So let's just say, okay, well, I'm just going to set it to, I'm going to have the sun coming from north. Okay. And I'm going to turn shadows on. Cast shadows, apply. Okay. So this the north is out this way. Does that work with your understanding? Or at least the way we've drawn this model, the top of the model is north. So I want to bring it around a little bit more to the clockwise from north. Let's bring it 40. Let's bring it 90 degrees and have it come from this direction just to see how that works. Render settings. Oh, I didn't hit apply. Oh, okay. I didn't hit apply. So let me set it to north. That that kills me. That kills me. Okay. So now we do have north, sun coming from north. Apply. Okay. Okay. So north is coming straight this way or straight this way. Let's go back to our plan view. So north is coming straight in this way, right? Straight in from the top. Okay, well, let's say I want it to come from this direction. That would be 0, 90. Here's 180. So let's say 135 to come in from that direction. 3D view 1. Render settings. Lighting. North. 135. Oh, sorry. 135. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's almost coming in right, right over us. Let me kick it around a little farther so it's coming more from the south. Let's say not quite one. Let's say 170, which will be sort of coming in this way. Okay. 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 So there's the change. And this is important. I have to reload the model for that change to take effect in the cloud renderings with the shadows this way. There are no tools in the cloud to change any of the lighting. So I guess really the flow would be in the model. I'm going to bring it around even farther, as a matter of fact. In the model, just with cast shadows, now it'll be coming in sort of from here. Okay. Okay. In cast shadows to see where the shadows are, then maybe just a medium rendering mode to make sure that you've got a floor. Exterior sun only. Why am I not getting oh, I'm not getting shadows cast because there's nothing there to cast shadows on. So I'm going to quickly put a floor in your model just so we can see that. I couldn't figure that out. Cast shadows can fake a floor plane to cast shadows on, but rendering can't. Architecture. So there's a bunch of this backing and forthing. Let's see for architectural. Um, let's at least, what kind of floor is that? Let's say it's wood finish. I'm just going to make a big floor instead of worrying about that kind of stuff. Okay, so we go back to 3D1. There's our floor. Render. Okay, so a better sense of things. Part of the assignment is going to be to take this room, make sure it does have a floor and a ceiling, and that only windows and doors are going to be letting light in. Otherwise, especially when you're doing your sunlighting, the outside light's just going to wash in, just the way it would if the tornado took the roof off and the sun shone in. It would be just that same thing going on. Okay, so we're good with that. Let me set up a different view where I'm going to be looking out a window. View, 3D view, camera. I just want to look out these windows so we can see the backgrounds that Revit will create for us. This will be a brief introduction, but here in if I go down to my realistic view, and in render settings, well, let's go to graphic design, our graphic design options, graphic display options first. That's just sort of the junior level of this. If we go to background, right now we got none. I can pick a sky, apply. So we have a gray ground and a midland sky. If I want to change that to dark green, I can do that, apply, and then that becomes there. I mean, it's not there. It's just they figure out where the horizon is and just do blue red ground plane up to there. Or we can pick a gradient where again we have a ground color and then we pick the color at the horizon and then what it is as it goes up. So let's just apply this one right now. But let's say I wanted it more like baby blue at the horizon. Robin's egg blue, you know, that nice color. A little darker. So we can start, and then that can go, you know, to dark purple or something as it reaches the top. And then there's image, where we can go get an image that we put into the. Well, let's see if it does the whole thing, or does it just do the sky part? Customize image. Oh, sorry. Uh, I don't know where I got a sky picture. There we go, supercell JPEG. This is a nice one. Okay. Isn't that just extraordinary? You know, people go out and chase those down on purpose. Okay, so that's the whole background is full there. And you can move that around. Um, right now we're looking at this to here, and if I want to move that up, I can just kick it up, apply, like playing with it like that. So you can take it. So my guess is that when we're down at the American Life building, we'll photograph out all the windows in every direction. Probably the straightforward ones as well as sort of angled ones. Your views might be at an angle, so the images should reflect that as well. So we can do anything there. Um, we can change their height. We can make them. You can move it around. You can make it larger. You can make it smaller. Background images added this way in graphic display options appear only in regular Revit views, not in renderings. To have them appear in both desktop and cloud renderings, add them in the Render Settings dialog. Here we go. Here it comes. And you can see that our supercell image did not come through because that was set in graphic display options, not render settings. We'll address that next week, but for now, let's look at the various exterior environments that cloud rendering can place our model in. I'll pick the field environment and then re-render. Another 10 minutes. So that's, yeah, these are reflections of something going on. These are shadows of, so, that's, for a generic background, that's not a bad generic background. My renderings, I don't think we need to post this to the gallery. Are you guys familiar with the American Life building at all? It's down there in the Belvedere. And this is what it is. You come up steps from Main Street to the front circular doors here. So we'll be starting to model this on Tuesday. We've got prints made from original drawings. We're just going to work directly from the drawings and really start dealing with architectural drawings as well, which is something we haven't really done yet. That's about all I got, ladies and gentlemen.